Time too, and
Did they do a second?
Okay.
Great questions.
All right, good evening and welcome to the City of Sunbury Council meeting. It is December 18th, 2024, 7:30 p.m. Would you please join me in a moment of silent prayer and the Pledge of Allegiance? Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Roll call, please.
Rock.
Here.
Mr. Capel?
Here.
Strayer? Yes. Mr. Neff?
Here.
Mr. Grumney?
Here.
Mr. Martin?
Here.
Mrs. Cooper? Here. 7 present. We have quorum.
Thank you. City Council last met on December 4th, 2024. We're looking for a motion on the minutes.
Motion.
Got a motion by Mr. Martin,
Second.
second by Mr. Grumney. Discussion. Roll call.
Mr. Martin?
Yes.
Mr. Grumney?
Yes.
Mrs. Cooper? Yes. Mr. Neff?
Yes.
Mayor St. John?
Yes.
Ms. Strayer? Yes. Mr. Capel?
Stay.
6 yeas, minutes passed.
All right, we are on to the visitors section. Are there any visitors that wish to speak with City Council? All right, we've got two. Ms. Crawford, you want to come up? Introduce yourself and you have 3 minutes. Thank you.
Big one at Chamber of Commerce, 39 East Granville. I just wanted to take a minute to thank the city of Sunbury as well as Sunbury Police Department for all of their assistance with Christmas on the Square. It was very cold, but we had a wonderful event. I've heard nothing but good feedback. So I just wanted to thank everybody for all their help and cooperation.
Awesome. Thank you.
Thank you.
Appreciate the positive
Thanks.
feedback. All right, next. Come on up, sir, if you don't mind introducing yourself, and we'll limit it to 3 minutes. Thank you.
My name's Tom Moore. I live at 495 South Street, K Road, Helena, Ohio, 43021. I am to the west side of the Woodland Lakes development that is in the second hearing tonight. And I had spoken with at the planning and zoning meeting. I had COVID 2 weeks ago during Thanksgiving.
Oh.
And wasn't able to attend the council meeting, the first reading for that. But my point is that the appropriateness of midnight court is in that, according to the code, new houses have to be 40 foot from the right of way. But this new road is going to put that road 25 to 28 feet from between those two neighbors right away. And I just question the appropriateness of cramming a road that the easement is only 60 feet. They're giving 50 foot for right of way, so it only is 5 feet on either side. And for sidewalks or trees or whatever cover they're going to put in through there. But still, this road's going to go within 25 and 28 feet of the dwelling. And to me, I've talked with other zoning inspectors, people in zoning, and to them, they say it doesn't matter what comes first or second, that still violates the code. So that's all I'd like to ask you to consider when you go through with this.
Thank you, Mr. Moore. Thank you. Are there any other visitors that wish to speak with City Council? All right, we're on to committee reports. Ms. Dreyer?
I do not have any.
Mr. Grumney?
I do. Thank you. We had a very efficient, productive finance meeting. We first talked about some budget software comparisons. Ms. Steffen put together a very nice comparison report of the three budgeting software solutions. Kind of gave a breakdown of pricing and abilities. And I think we have a clear, no pun intended, leader in that grouping. So Ms. Steffen, I think, has some direction from Finance Committee as far as where we're leaning. So that's making great progress. Also, Mr. Hennessy shared a utility rate study update, using Baker Tilly, to conduct a study, for the city to talk about, utility rates for residents, and as far as builders too, when it comes to tap fees. And, this is the type of work that takes place in order to, pay for, the ongoing use of these utilities and the, development that's needed. Nice thing is the tap fees, and I heard Daryl say this a couple times, growth pays for growth. So it's nice to see those tap fees are in place, to pay for new residents and new companies coming in. And then as far as residents, we stay consistent with a 3.5% increase over, I believe it's 5 years, to help maintain that system, the utility. So, I think it's just great planning, and I appreciate all the hard work between staff and Baker Tilly and getting that rate done and analyzed. And then we went through some year-to-date comparison reports, just some highlights of expenses and revenue. One thing I'd just like to point out, it's recognized in that report, a $1.2 million Ohio grant we received for the Ohio Erie Trail and 37 expansion. Again, that's $1.2 million. And I just want to highlight how much work I think goes on behind the scenes, in a city for staff that goes out and looks for money, for projects within the city that takes that burden off the residents, for paying for things, because we're out there looking for that money that's available. So I really appreciate staff looking for those funds to help make the city stronger. So, and then lastly, went through some bank book reconciliations and check registers. So everything seems to be on task with that.
Thank you, Mr. Drummond.
Yep.
Mr. Capel?
Nothing tonight.
I have one quick update, and this is related to the Joint Recreation District Exploratory Committee. Galena, Berkshire, and Sunbury representatives will be meeting tomorrow morning, where we are going to be reviewing joint resolutions to form the Joint Recreation District, and also to review draft bylaws for the future board. But again, what I wanted to mention, when we come out of the new year, we'll really hit the ground running in terms of forming the Joint Recreation District, appointing board members, and getting the board on their way. It's like we're sending our kid off to school. Kid doesn't exist yet, but we're gonna create a kid. This is going sideways.
Transition.
Anyways, that's what we have going on. Thanks, Mrs. Cooper.
Nothing tonight.
All right,
Nothing to report.
Mr. Neff.
Yes, on December 11th at 3 p.m., we had our BST&G Fire Board meeting. Kind of as far as the construction will be moving forward, we were discussing some of the materials that are going to be used, some of the roofing materials mainly. Probably spent too much time discussing the roofing that's going to be used on that. There was a notable run that I want to draw attention to, mainly out of safety. On behalf of the fire department, on behalf of all first responders, was an ice rescue that occurred with a child. So it's just a main caution to everybody and to kind of spread the word. Even though the pond looks frozen, it may not be safe to go on. So thank God for the first responders who were able to show up in time and get this child out to safety. So everything turned out to be okay in this case, but that's not always the case. So it happened to a passerby or somebody walking saw the kid and called 911, where if that person wasn't happened to be walking right then and there, it could have been a different outcome. So obviously staying vigilant. I did want to draw some attention to something that was new to the fire department with the inspection fees. So they've generated $80,000 for BST&G with inspection fees this year, which is really good. It's a way for the department to get some of the revenue and consistent with the theme of growth paying for growth. And one of the other things too that the fire department continues to do, and that's kind of reaching out to the community and community involvement, is the car seat inspections. Something that's not used. It is an investment that the board and the department thinks is important to continue to keep people trained and certified. So obviously use that as a resource for the people here in the community. So other than that, we will have our final meeting December 27th at 4 p.m. And then the organizational meeting will be January 9th at 6:30. And since I will be resigning from council and relocating, I'm asking Dave Martin to come in and take over and take the reins of the BST&G Fire Board.
Is he officially the secondary? Is Dave Martin the secondary on the fire board? If not, John's gonna need to take action
Yeah,
or appoint. We can come back to this under new and unfinished business, but thank you. I think what you're doing is recommending,
for some reason, I want to say it's you.
I decline.
Yeah.
Mayor, you are actually the alternate.
Yep, definitely need a new one there. I'm wearing 16 hats.
Police and fire. So do we have to make a motion for,
I think you do. I think you just,
we can just appoint, or do we take a vote?
yeah, there's something in our laws, our council
It's council.
rules
I'll
that
take a quick look and
Sure.
I'll get back to you just to make sure we're
we'll
good.
put a new and unfinished business and we'll just add that as an item. All right, great. No other committee reports. We are on to the police report. Chief Howard.
Thank you, Mayor.
Thank you.
I'll see if I can give you DC wage report here. All the I know we met with the architects, MS consultants and whatnot. We had some issues at the building we talked about the last meeting I was at. They've been down, they're working on correcting those. Some of those aren't as bad as what we thought they were gonna be, so hopefully that's gonna be some easy fixes, but there's a couple that's probably not gonna be. The new build, or the new the cars that we got leased, we've got that all squared away. We have 3 of them here now that are being striped at Sure Signs. The other 2 are being upfitted. As soon as we get those 2, we'll send the other 3 over. One thing I want to hit on is the morning we had the ice on December 5th, when all the pictures went out and the freeway was shut down, there was a deputy that was struck out there. He's still in the hospital. He is going to survive, but he's got a long way ahead of him. They said he's going to be in for probably another 3 to 4 weeks. So I guess just be vigilant with when you come up on troopers, squads, whatever. I know you're supposed to slow down or move over. A lot of people don't do that, but there's a lot of accidents here lately with things like that. So just keep that in mind. The last thing I want to put out there is I want to thank Murray Neff. I know he's leaving. Murray's been great for the police department. You all have, but with Murray leaving, I just want to tell him thanks.
Thank you.
You've been a good help for what we've done.
You make it easy to be good for you. I mean, you're Sunbury Police Department, proud of you, and you make this community what it is. And so you keep us safe, you keep everybody safe, the SRO program, the schools, everybody is better off because of you and your leadership. So thank you.
Thank you very much. And that's all I have unless you have any questions.
Thank you, Chief. Any questions or comments for Chief Howard? Thank you, Chief. We're on to the administrator report. Mr. Hennessy.
All right, just 3 quick announcements. We've got dates for the 2025 council retreat scheduled March 22nd. Put it on your calendars for the morning of. We'll be back to you with more details. We're going to do it at the same location as last year. State of the city address, we have firmed that up for February 20th, 2025, Big Walnut High School Auditorium in the early evening, remarks beginning at 6:30. So again, get that on your calendar if you could. And the final thing is we have for the first time prepared some frequently asked questions regarding the Sunbury Business and Technology Park and the Amazon Web Services project that has been announced for that location. I've included in your packet a copy of the document, begins on packet page 9. The plan is that we will release this more broadly to the public in the morning. I mean, obviously it's already out there. It's on the council agenda page, but we'll announce it through the public or through the media or the social media sources. So this is an attempt to maybe be a little bit more proactive in terms of communicating with the residents in terms of what is happening on our east side as it specifically relates to the AWS project. So hopefully you find it helpful. Hopefully the residents will find it helpful, and this perhaps will be the first of several that we do. So just want to draw your attention to that. And that is it, unless anybody has any questions.
Will the state of the city be live streamed? I mean, we got to watch you all over the country.
We did try, well, no, did we have trouble live streaming it last year?
Last year, but it's in the auditorium this year, so I'll get with the staff at the high school and see what we can do.
There you go.
Let's try to do it because I have a list of attendees, governor, CEOs, representatives, church leaders, Girl Scout leaders, Boy Scout leaders, sports teams, spelling bee champs, Performing Arts Center, township trustees, to name a couple. So, Amber, I'll get all the names over to you. I want this thing to be packed. I want it to be full of energy, and we're going to do it big this year.
Thanks for getting
Spelling
that
bee
FAQ.
champs.
Yeah. Thanks for getting that FAQ together.
Yeah, that's helpful.
I hope
Very
so.
helpful.
We're gonna shoot our shot.
Okay.
All right. Good deal. So Dabrowski, ready to go. Engineers report, rock and roll.
Good evening. I just have one item on my report that I want to highlight, and then I'll take questions. The very last item is just an update that the Planning and Engineering Department has been working through the spreadsheet that we've updated. I just wanted to highlight a few items with that update in case there's additional information that you would be interested in looking up or reviewing. One of the items that comes up from time to time, especially on the communities that are currently under construction, who is the best contact in our office or in the field? We are adding a column for a contact person so that we have points of contact. And then the other thing that I wanted to mention is that we had a vacant column for development sizes. So we've gone through to start to populate some of that information. So as you're looking at this, if you have any trouble, please reach out, give us some feedback. And in the future, I'm sure we will put it on a services committee to give you a project update. That's it.
Thank you. Any questions for Ms. Dabrowski? Thank you very much. One moment. All right, we are on to resolutions. Third reading, resolution 2024.19. Still tabled. Resolution 2024.28, a resolution accepting a grant award from the Ohio Department of Natural Resources for park improvements to J.R. Smith Park, including a splash pad, picnic pavilion with restrooms and connecting walking trails, approving the required matching funds and authorizing the city administrator to execute all necessary documents.
I'd like to make a motion.
Got a motion by Mrs. Cooper, second by Mr. Neff. Discussion?
One comment on page number 22. I believe that's related to that, the ODNR. We're missing a little bit of language. The third paragraph down after it says, when complete, J.R. Smith Park will offer visitors a new splash pad, pavilion, trails, and I think we should include the bathrooms there.
Okay. Yeah, this is the state's document, but we can, we can ask them to make that adjustment before it gets signed.
It does say restrooms in the title.
Yeah, in the ordinance title. I think she's referencing the actual grant agreement with the,
Oh,
yeah. Adding it down here.
oh, okay, putting it in the grant agreement.
We need that though? I mean, is it? As part of the design, right?
We can look to them to see if they'll allow us to add it. It's the grant agreement between them and us. But we can build the restrooms with it. Certainly.
Yeah, we're planning to put restrooms there.
We are, yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
And the ordinance does allow us to make modifications to the agreement that are approved by the city administrator and myself. So we'll take that and
Is it,
run it up the flagpole with them.
some of that funding is for that, at that location. Will there be other possible public restrooms in the future, maybe at the bike path? Where it, near Letts Avenue and Vernon? At that station over there, the railroad station?
It's up to Preservation Parks.
Yeah, I was gonna say that's their project, not ours. And I'm not sure. I mean, I can look into it though, in terms of what their plans are and share those with you.
Well, restrooms at either location would probably be a really good idea. So if the funds include the restrooms there,
Probably, I mean, broad scale, we're getting $500,000 for like a $3 million project. So if we're saying that $500,000 that the state's giving us, we're gonna use it for splash pad, trails, things like that. It doesn't cover the whole bill. So we're gonna add restrooms. I don't know that we need to amend the grant agreement. If staff thinks that we do, we'll do it. We just don't want to slow up the receipt of the money, right? Because we're trying to move on this next year.
We are, that's right.
Well, so I think Mr. Bream said that they can work amongst staff with an approval and explore the concept of adding restrooms to the language. It's in the resolution, though. I feel comfortable with it where it is. All right, we've got a motion and a second on the table. Discussion. Roll call.
Mrs. Cooper? Yes. Mr. Neff?
Yes.
Mr. Martin?
Yes.
Mr. Grumney?
Yes.
Mayor St. John?
Yes.
Mr. Air?
Yes.
Mr. Capel?
Yes.
7 yeas, resolution passes.
All right, no second readings, first reading. Resolution 2024.29, a resolution authorizing the city administrator to enter into a maintenance agreement with the state of Ohio Department of Transportation. This is related to the
Yeah.
Sunbury Parkway and roadway maintenance, sidewalks, trails, and
And the
what other
decorative
thing?
fence. Yeah, the fence and the columns.
Questions, comments? All right. Ordinances, third reading, ordinance number 2025.01, an ordinance to approve expenses and other expenditures of the city of Sunbury, Delaware County, state of Ohio during the fiscal year beginning January 1st, 2025 and ending December 31st, 2025.
Motion.
Got a motion by Mr. Martin.
Second.
Second by Mr. Grumney. Discussion. Good work on the budget. Feel good? Roll call.
Mr. Martin?
Yes.
Mr. Grumney?
Yes.
Mr. Capel?
Yes.
Mr. Air?
Yes.
Mayor St. John?
Yes.
Mr. Neff?
Yes.
Mrs. Cooper?
Yes.
7 yeas, ordinance passes.
Second reading ordinance number 2025.02. And ordinance adopting wage and salary structures for the city of Sunbury for the fiscal year commencing January 1st, 2025.
Motion on the ordinance.
We would have to suspend
Yeah, we
rules.
need to suspend the rules on this.
Oh, yeah, I'm sorry.
Yep.
Motion to suspend the rules.
We got a motion to suspend the rules by Mr. Capel,
Second.
second by Mr. Neff. Discussion. Roll call.
Mr. Capel?
Yes.
Mr. Neff?
Yes.
Mr. Grumney?
Yes.
Mrs. Cooper?
Yes.
Mr. Martin?
Yes.
Mayor St. John?
Yes.
Mr. Air?
Yes.
7 yeas.
We're looking to pass this? Or just suspend the rules?
No, I'm sorry, there's no emergency language. I was just reading it
Do we have
again.
emergency language with this being a financial item? So
Is
it
it?
looks like it's just an ordinance. So
Okay,
pass.
then motion on ordinance number 2025.02.
We got a motion by Mr. Capel and a second by
I'm sorry for the
Mr.
confusion.
Neff. Oh, no problem. These ones are tricky. They're ordinances, but they're internal finance. and don't require the emergency discussion. Roll call.
Mr. Capel?
Yes.
Mr. Neff?
Yes.
Mr. Martin?
Yes.
Mrs. Cooper?
Yes.
Mr. Grumney?
Yes.
Mayor St. John?
Yes.
Mr. Air?
Yes.
7 yeas, ordinance passes.
Ordinance number 2024.31, an ordinance this is a second reading. An ordinance accepting the application of Woodland Lake Investors LLC to rezone approximately 60.588 plus or minus acres of property owned by Lou Ann Medellin and Diamond Resources Corp. From not zoned to planned residence district and planned commercial district pursuant to the City of Sunbury zoning code and declaring an emergency. Any comments, questions? All right. We're on to second reading ordinance number 2024.32, an ordinance accepting a petition for annexation of territory consisting of 93.1 plus or minus acres of land located in Trenton Township, Delaware County, owned by OHIO Real Estate Acquisition 1 LLC and declaring an emergency. No first readings. We're on to new and unfinished business. Maybe we'll start with the fire board.
Is a appointment by you as president of council, so you need to make that appointment. I don't know, is this for, you're gonna be doing new annual appointments? Is there a fire board meeting between now and the end of the year?
Yes, but Marie Neff is going to attend
That's
that.
really what it's for. So really, it's for the balance of this year. Doesn't mean you can't continue that person in next year, but it's an annual appointment. So you need to make that appointment on the record.
I think it would be for effective
Starting
next year.
January. Yeah,
It's,
so, there's only one more meeting left in the year, correct? So
Marie's gonna attend that.
So then this will begin in the January cycle, so. So I can do that now then, and, okay. All right, I'd like to appoint Mr. Dave Martin to the fire board beginning, January 2025.
So it is said, so it is done. Second needed.
Assuming he accepts, I don't know, he just.
He doesn't have to accept. You said it. So rules read.
Record, I'm willing to accept.
Thank you.
For one meeting, right?
That was like one of the cool powers of president of council.
Oh.
All right. Rickard Graydon Engagement Letter Charter Review Commission, Mr. Hennessy.
Yeah, so you have in your packet, packet page 61, an engagement letter from Rickard Graydon, compliments of Rebecca Princehorn. Ms. Princehorn was the council, as I understand it, the last time that, or when the council or when the city established the original charter. As you know, we're coming up on the year in which we're going to do a review of the charter. We're going to talk about appointments here in just a few moments. So this would be to engage her as counsel to support the commission. Her charge is $305 per hour. And actually, that is lower than the rate that Rickard Graydon has proposed for the Joint Recreation District, which surprised me a little bit. So I think this is a very competitive rate that she's proposed. We do have funding in the budget to support legal services for the commission next year. So, if council is comfortable with that, I'd like to be able to go ahead and get the engagement in place, because I anticipate we would probably want to convene the Charter Commission in early January, assuming we have members.
I'll second.
Motion second by Mrs. Cooper. Discussion. Roll call.
Mayor St. John,
Yes.
Mrs. Cooper,
Yes.
Mr. Martin,
Yes.
Mr. Grumney,
Yes.
Mr. Neff,
Yes.
Mr. Ayer,
Yes.
Mr. Capel,
Yes.
7 yeas, motion passes.
All right. I'm going to say some new and unfinished business that I have really quick, and then we'll go around the horn. But first, for the very positive, and I think our staff did just such a great job this year. I'm really proud of City Council, and I'm really proud of the way that our City Council interacts with our staff. This is not always the case. I mean, in private sector, the way boards interact with leadership teams, in the public sector, the way school boards or boards of trustees or county commissioners interact with their staff. I think we have something really unique here. It's just a really good balance. Everybody knows their role. Everybody looks out for one another. It's a great place to live. We're very blessed, very fortunate. But this year in particular was it's going to be a 365-day sprint. And I know our staff feels that, our police force feels that, our wastewater treatment plant feels that, our services team, our administrative team, our finance team. I know you also feel it too. When you drive anywhere, you walk anywhere, you see all these things we want to do. Just take a minute to smell the roses and look around at your peers and our neighbors, because we have it good. Let's make it better. Let's capitalize on what we got. I'm just so proud of this team, and I'm so excited to go into 2025 and hit the ground running. So thank you. All right, I've got some negative news. All right. I debated doing this because I know we have some things in flight, but it needs to be said on record. The conditions of the roads that Pulte neighborhoods, they are terrible. They're absolutely terrible. We have legislation that is going to help rein some of that in with legislation. It's unfortunate because we've gone many, many years without this legislation, and it's just been a phone call to the developer when we have mud and rocks and lumber in the roads. It's like, hey, you've got a problem, and it gets fixed. Pulte has some serious problems, and I understand the weight of what I'm saying as mayor, calling out a specific company, but I'm upset with the way that they are not responding to our administrator, to our engineer, to our inspectors. And it is unfortunate for the entire development community that we have to react to the way that Pulte's inaction for safety. They don't have sidewalks developed. They've had to put bus routes in because they just mismanaged their phasing. I drive through it every day, so obviously I'm much more in tune with it. But if you drive through Price Ponds or Eagle Creek, you better watch out because, I mean, the stuff you can see with your eyes and yeah, a dirty car is a dirty car. Who cares? I really care about like the silt and sediment screwing up our stormwater system for the long term. I'm really concerned about that. I'm concerned that it's like the finest level of debris is flowing into our storm drift systems, and we're going to have to jet those out in 2 or 3 years. We're going to have to buy more jet trucks and hire more people to clean up the mess that's happening right now. I'm worried about flood risk. I talk about this all the time in services, but you know, the more fine silt and mud that goes into our detention ponds, that messes up the calculations of how much water they can hold. And what happens, like in a worst case scenario, and it seems like we have a lot of worst case scenarios with rain events, it causes floods downstream. And I'm concerned that the city is going to be, you know, looked at and like, why didn't you hold the developer accountable for many, many years? And it's unfortunate for the private sector. That it's just going to be harder to do business. Like they're going to have to sweep streets more often, but it comes down to accountability and honestly customer service and knowing that you're doing business in the community that is paying you. Like your customers are our residents. It's the same people. And if the residents are turning to their government to solve this for them, we've got a problem. And I'm ready to address it. So out of 2025, we're going to address it. And, you know, if there's work stoppages, so be it. I mean, that's going to be unfortunate for the homeowners who are going to get delayed closings. That has a real impact. But, you know, we got to do what we got to do to protect the city long term. That's it. All right. That's all I had.
Are we allowed to clap on that?
We request a Pulte representative to come to council and explain their actions. Yeah, okay.
I mean, if they respond to their emails, that would be a first step.
Yeah.
Answer the phone is step 2. Okay. All right. Sorry, we're still on new and unfinished business, Ms. Dreyer.
Do not have any.
All right, Mr. Gumby.
I'll yield my time to Mr. Kneff's goodbye speech.
Nothing here yet.
No, I just, you know, with Murray leaving, I was reflecting on my speech I gave when Tim left, and I just remember, you know, all of us being a little heartsick over Tim leaving. And it was different because Tim was still gonna be here. And I know for sure that you've called Tim this year and said, hey, this is what I'm going through. Like, what's your advice or what were you doing? You know, and we all see Tim at Kroger and we all still have Tim in our lives. And now we're gonna get to have him even more. But it's different with Murray leaving. And so as I was thinking about everything, I decided that I wasn't going to write a speech because it was too emotional. And I thought, oh, I'll just ask one of my buddies to read it. And I thought, oh, these two softies, they'd never be able to get through a speech. So I'm only going to say one thing, which is you're my best friend. I love you and I'm going to miss you.
That was 3 things.
I'm going to say 3 things.
That was
Take them with you.
that was so good. You're my best friend.
You're like my
You are still my best friend, Nancy.
number 4, teetering on 5, depending on what.
That's great. Thank you. Mr. Martin.
Could I possibly say to follow that? Thank you for sharing that with everybody.
Yeah, that was
You said
good.
it for all of us, actually. So thank you.
Thank you, Mrs.
And thank you.
Thank you.
Bree, any newer unfinished
I
business?
really didn't prepare. Romney was telling me to prepare a speech, but I don't write speeches.
Please go up.
Stand up to the podium.
Your name, address.
Thank you. Thank you to everyone. And thank you to this council. Thank you to the staff, the police department. Thank you to the streets department, everybody who's made this community great. Thank you to the chamber. I mean, all the involvement that the chamber does for the city and the events that they put together to bring people together. When I first interviewed for this, I remember saying like, it's to keep the unity in the community. And that is what is happening here in Sunbury. I mean, you look at the leadership from Joe and now his State of the Union is going to go nationwide. I mean, the growth that continues to happen in this town, which is awesome. And I think that the one thing that's always stayed true is the heart of the city is here in the square, and protecting and preserving and enhancing the square has always been top priority, and it will continue to be top priority for generations to come, because we've spelled it out. We say it over and over and over again. And I want to give a huge shout out too to our streets department, like traveling some streets in other states. I would say we're doing the job right here. And a big thank you too to the unsung heroes of, like, all of us have families here, and all of us have people behind us, our support networks, that they don't get to see us all the time because we're here at a meeting. They get my 9-year-old, for example, watches YouTube, watches our meeting stream. And I thought it was just out of an interest for local politics, because it's something I've always been interested in. But when I told him we were going to be relocating, the first thing he asked was, am I going to be on city council? Then he asked, am I going to be on the chamber? And I said, no. And he's like, finally, you can be my baseball coach again.
Oh,
So that was emotional. It kind of was a gut punch.
yeah.
But it's times like those where I start to think, like, wow, I'll be able to spend a little bit more time with them and, have a life back again. But although this was my life, and I thank you to all the people who had voted for me and supported me and brought even their issues up to me. Into the crowd that always says more Christmas lights. There is more Christmas lights on the square, so I did hold true to that. The people who have said we want to have games on the squares, we have those now. So definitely things are happening, and things are happening to keep the residents happy and engaged and bring them up to the square. So I think that's awesome.
Could you move forward? Because the people that are watching this can't see you when you sit back.
I do it. That's exactly why I do it. I have this seat. Well, thank you to everyone. It's been a pleasure, and it's been
Pleasure's been ours. Thank you. Right. We do have a need to enter executive session, and I'd like to invite, I think, council members and 3 individuals to stay. That would be Mr. Daryl Hennessy, Mr. David Bream, and Mr. John Trainer, intern in the legal office. Schreiner. I was close. Sorry.
Yeah, I'll also invite Caitlin to stay as well. Caitlin Graff Miller.
Caitlin Graff Miller as
Yep.
well.
There you go.
Okay, 12-9, 39. We do expect to take action after we exit executive session later this evening, so we'll reboot the stream or the recording, however that magic works. We'll make that happen. With that said, I'd like to make a motion to take a 5-minute recess, and then we'll enter executive session.
We need to vote on the motion.
Ready? Do I need to read the language?
Yep.
All right, I'd like to make a motion to take a 5-minute recess, then enter executive session per Ohio Revised Code 121.22G1 to consider the appointment, employment, dismissal, discipline, promotion, demotion, or compensation of a public official or employee.
Second.
Second by Mr. Capel. Discussion? Roll call.
Mayor St. John,
Yes.
Mr. Capel.
Yes.
Mr. Ayer,
Yes.
Mr. Neff,
Yes.
Mr. Grumney,
Yes.
Mrs. Cooper. Yes. Mr. Martin.
Yes.
7 yeas, motion passes.
We'll enter executive session at approximately
We say to
8:13.
all the people that are leaving, Merry Christmas.
Merry Christmas, everyone.
And grab a cookie on your way out.
Motion to reconvene.
Motion by Mr. Martin,
Second.
second by Mr. Neff.
You knew that was coming.
Call.
Mr. Martin,
Yes.
Mr. Neff,
Yes.
Mr. Grumney,
Yes.
Mrs. Cooper.
Yes.
Mayor St. John,
Yes.
Mr. Ayer,
Yes.
Mr. Capel.
Yes.
7 yeas, motion approved.
All right, I would like to make the following appointments to our Charter Commission effective January 1st of 2025. Ms. Nancy Crawford, Mr. Randy Rentz, Ms. Chris Heller, Ms. Amy Berger, Ms. Shannon Stark, Mr. Joey Thomas, and Mr. Matt Hochberg. Looking for a second.
Second.
We've got a second by Mrs. Cooper. Discussion. Call.
Mayor St. John,
Yes.
Mrs. Cooper,
Yes.
Mr. Martin,
Yes.
Mr. Capel. Yes. Mr. Ayer,
Yes.
Mr. Neff,
Yes.
Mr. Grumney.
Yes.
7 yeas, motion approved.
I'd like to make the following appointment to the Planning and Zoning Commission effective January 1st, 2025 for a 3-year term. Mr. Mark Long,
I'll second.
second. Mrs. Cooper. Discussion. Roll call.
Mayor St. John, Mrs. Cooper,
Yes.
Mr. Martin,
Yes.
Mr. Grumney,
Yes.
Mr. Neff,
Yes.
Mr. Ayer,
Yes.
Mr. Capel.
Yes.
7 yeas, motion approved.
I'd like to make a motion to appoint the following members to 3-year terms to the Board of Zoning Appeals effective January 1st, 2025. Mr. Randy Rentz, Mr. Drew Durig.
Second.
Second by Mr. Grumney. Discussion. Roll call.
Mayor St. John,
Yes.
Mr. Grumney,
Yes.
Mrs. Cooper,
Yes.
Mr. Martin,
Yes.
Mr. Capel,
Yes.
Mr. Ayer,
Yes.
Mr. Neff.
Yes.
7 yeas, motion approved.
I'm going to break this next one apart into two motions. The first motion is going to be for a 3-year position on the Personnel Board of Appeals effective January 1st, 2025 for Mr. Justin Wood,
Second.
second by Mrs. Cooper. Discussion. Roll call.
Mayor St. John, Mrs. Cooper,
Yes.
Mr. Capel,
Yes.
Mr. Ayer,
Yes.
Mr. Neff,
Yes.
Mr. Grumney,
Yes.
Mr. Martin.
Yes.
7 yeas, motion approved.
All right, and I would like to make a motion for the Personnel Board of Appeals pending the, what am I pending? The forfeiture of the 1-year portion of Mr. Randy Rent's current Personnel Board of Appeals term. I would like to fill that with Ms. Amy Berger for a 1-year term effective January 1st, 2025.
Second.
Second by Mrs. Cooper. Discussion. Roll call.
Mayor St. John,
Yes.
Mrs. Cooper,
Yes.
Mr. Martin,
Yes.
Mr. Grumney,
Yes.
Mr. Neff,
Yes.
Mr. Ayer, Mr. Capel.
Yes.
7 yeas, motion approved.
Is there any other business that should be discussed?
Unanimous. How about
Do you need to correct what we wrote down?
Send it around.
Okay.
Right. All right, I would like to make a motion to adjourn.
Second.
Second by Mr. Capel. Discussion. Roll call.
Mayor St. John.
Yes.
Mr. Capel.
Yes.
Mr. Ayer.
Yes. Yes.
Mr. Neff.
No.
Mr. Grumney. Mrs. Cooper. Mr. Martin.
Yes.
6
He told me
yeas,
earlier.
motion approved.
Dude, it still caught me.
Is that the first time you've ever voted no?
The most he's ever talked all night.
But all clean.